Hi folks, today what we have on our plate is going to be wide bodies. We're going to discuss the difference between the single stack and the wide body 1911. Check it out right here. Hi folks, we're going to do a quick addendum. Bob forgot something. Yeah, it happens to me too. I forgot to actually go over the mainspring housings themselves. I went over the Magwells, but I should have went over more in detail the mainspring housings on the wide bodies, okay? And again, if you have a para style wide body, which will encompass the Remingtons, the paras, the RIAs, a lot of different those type of groups out there, some of the Springfield wide bodies, you're just going to use a standard 1911 mainspring housing, okay? So you have nothing to worry about. You just use a standard mainspring housing. Now if you want a Magwell, obviously you're going to have to, you know, change a few things because the Magwell is so much wider on those styles, and the STI 2011 version. So again, if you have the para style frame, which will generally be steel, okay, all steel frame, you just use a regular mainspring housing and the Magwell piece will be separate. You will need usually a bigger pin, possibly, depending on the Magwell style that you're using. Some of them screw into the bottom of the mainspring housing. So just that one thing to look for. Now the other thing which I kind of really missed is on the STI style frames. You'll see that the bottom here is totally cut out in the back strap of the frame down in here. All right, and what that does is this is actually one of the parts that come with an STI frame, and it's a polymer mainspring housing, which I'm not a huge fan of polymer mainspring housings. I've seen a lot that crack, regardless if it's in a single stack or a double stack. It's basically kind of a cheesy, cheap part. So a lot of manufacturers are using plastic mainspring housings today. They're using it to reduce cost. All right, I'm not a fan of them. Okay, I've seen way too many failures because of plastic mainspring housings. So generally what I do is I change out the mainspring housing to steel, regardless if it's a single stack Colt or a Springfield Armory or whatever, whoever's using a plastic mainspring housing. I usually scrap that when I'm rebuilding the guns and put in a steel or an aluminum mainspring housing. So again, we have the steel in stainless or carbon steel, the STI versions. Now a couple of things you'll see, and we'll show some details of this, is when you look at the back of the mainspring housing, you'll see that the STI has this bigger hook area, which is basically a lead-in for the magazine, and that's why this will fill in the gap that is in the frame here from the back strap. That's left out from the back strap. Okay, so that'll go up in there and fill that up. Then, you know, again, if you're going to go with a Magwell area, and I did go over this somewhat in the other video, if you're going to use a Magwell, then again you're going to use basically both pieces. You'll put the mainspring housing in. You'll wrap the Magwell section around the frame. It actually inserts into here, goes around the frame, and then you'll need a bigger pin. All right, a longer pin to encompass the Magwell and the mainspring housing and assemble that into the frame itself. Generally, these styles of Magwells, they have a machined section down in here for the frame to actually slip into and go down into. And generally, you're going to want to just take that, put it on. As you get close, this is very tight. And what I usually do is I'll take a rubber mallet and tap it. And as I tap it, it'll go right down onto the mainspring housing. You can pin it in. For the Magwell style. And as we get into assembly of some of these products, we'll go over that more and more. Right now, I'm trying to really focus on all the different parts in the 1911 and what choices you have and how do they kind of work and what's the pros and cons to that. The reason we're doing that first is we get so many calls every day, folks, of people that have just no clue what they're buying or what they have or what they bought. They don't know if they need a officer's mainspring housing or if they need a government-sized mainspring housing, or they think the commander parts are different than the government. You know, there's all these different facets that people just don't understand, and I know for some people it'll be really basic, but for a lot of people it's not. So we want to really try to clarify all the parts first, and then we're going to be getting into more of the harder tech, fitting, rebuilding, all those other items. So Stay tuned for more. I just wanted to go over this again with you guys because I did mess up here and forget this one section. It is an important thing to know about the STI style frames and the wide body frames, so with the mainspring housings. So we'll have more videos coming up. I appreciate you coming in and watching our videos and all the great support you people have been giving us. It's been fantastic. 2020 is really coming out to be a booming year for us, and we're just starting to slide into February. So thank you very much. We'll be back again.